Hi, Caitlin.
Hi, Cassie.
Hi, creepy people. This is P&W Haunts and Homicides.
What is happening?
It'll make sense later.
Oh, no. Oh, my goodness.
That just came from my soul. I don't even know.
Whew, from the depths.
Okay, so today we have a very special guest with us, Jacob Westman.
How's it going?
Did I pronounce your name right?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, it's a pretty standard name, but I don't know if I've ever heard your last name like said out loud.
Yeah. I don't know how else you'd pronounce it.
Right. I don't know. Some people
It
pronounce their
works.
names weird. So God, I can't speak. Oh, bear with us. We mess up a lot.
That's totally fine. I mess up a lot too. I'll probably mess up quite a bit. And I see you're drinking some wine, which is cool because for the occasion, I got some wine
Oh
to
my
drink with
gosh.
you. And it's Spellbound Syrah. It seemed fitting for the occasion.
That is
Hello.
awesome.
So I'm going to pour some wine right now.
Go for it.
I love it.
We can cheers.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, that looks
Look at that
delicious.
fancy glass.
Ooh.
Look, you can see us in the glass.
Mhm. Oh, my God. Wave to yourself.
Cheers.
Cheers. How is it? Is it good?
It's very good. Yeah.
Nice.
I love that. We're going to have to find that.
Yeah,
Spellbound.
spellbound.
Is that
Yeah.
the
And it seemed like this is totally, it seemed like one of your tarot cards or something. So I just,
Yeah.
Taking
And
a
now-
picture of it.
and now sales are just going to go through the roof.
Yeah, they are. They need to start paying us.
Yeah. Love it.
Okay, so we brought you here today to talk about your books.
Yes.
Yes. Tell us
Well,
about them.
Well, I have one right now, which is this book. If I can keep the glare off of it.
Yeah. Oh, perfect.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's called Jennings Lodge, and it's pretty neat. It's kind of interesting. There's a lot to say about it. It's a pretty quick read. I started writing it a long, long time ago. I think in like 2015 or 2016.
Oh, wow.
And I wrote like half of it, and then I just shelved it because I thought it was a bad idea. And then just a few months ago,
Silly.
I just was going through my Google Docs, and I thought it was pretty neat. So I just finished it,
Awesome.
and I decided to publish it.
So
That's
what's it
awesome.
about?
It's technically about aliens.
Really?
Yeah, I really like aliens, and that's what it's
Same.
about. Kind of, I like really like kind of like eerie things. Kind of like, I don't know if you've ever seen Signs. I really like the movie Signs,
Oh, yeah.
and like folklore, like Bigfoot and stuff like that. So I wanted to kind of be like like a small town setting. You don't really know what's going on. Like you always kind of feel like someone's watching you, but it kind of took a turn. It didn't really end up like that. So it's hard to explain, but
We just got to read the book,
it's
right?
very interesting. Yeah, and you should definitely read it. But I am currently finishing up another book right now, which I'm much more happy about, and it's completely different. It's called Glow,
Ooh,
and I'll be working on publishing that pretty soon too. So
that is awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about that new book? Like what that one's about?
yeah,
What
it's
can you tell us?
Tell us
Yeah.
everything.
all right. Well, it's kind of just like a classic haunted house story. I guess. I don't know. It's an idea I've had for a long time. It's a lot different than this. It's not about aliens or anything. It's it kind of has to do a lot with like really serious things like suicide and depression and
Oh.
like child loss and things that I myself and a lot of my friends have gone through, like in the real world. And it's I don't know, just things that kind of go on every day with people all over the world. And but I kind of wanted to do something scary. I always got to make it scary, so
You have
Yeah.
to, right?
I turned it into like a haunted house book in a way.
Wow.
But
Perfect.
and I don't know if I can really say a whole lot more than that, but
Yeah, don't give
It's-
everything
Yeah.
away.
it's
But
definitely pretty interesting. I like the story, and yeah, I'm excited to finish it because I don't quite have an ending yet. That's the one thing I'm working on.
Okay.
Oh, I cannot wait for that to come out. I love the scary books that have like a deeper like meaning that aren't just like there to just scare the crap out of you, but have like
Yeah, it's definitely pretty hardcore and serious. I mean, like when I don't know, I haven't gone back and read it yet, but when I do, I mean, I know how I was feeling when I write it. And yeah, it's just a lot of things people are dealing with for real in real life every day. And I feel like it's a good way to kind of deal with it when I write it. So maybe people, when they read it,
get it off your chest. Yeah.
Let it out and give other people an outlet for it as well. That's great. Well, I noticed there's a clown behind you.
I know.
I'll pull this off the wall.
Oh my God.
This was, I think, from Michael's, just like one of those clocks you paint. And Kayla, I love it and scary things. So she painted my little wheel float too.
Oh my God. I love
and Kayla paints me all kinds of cool things, scary things like that. So
she's awesome. So you also, I don't think I told Caitlin about this, but you also have some creepy, like short films, correct?
Yes, we do. Me and my friend Ryan, we make short films. We just finished filming one here. They're kind of few and far between because we're very busy people.
Oh yeah.
But we do have a few, and we have a lot from back when we were younger because we've been friends since we were 15. And that's kind of how long we've been making videos for. And it's actually pretty cool. It's like a little love story how we met, kind of. And discovered we both like making videos, and from there on, it's like that's all we do. And a lot of them have kind of gotten just like lost in the matrix, but we still have quite a few on there, like old videos, and a few from recent. And then we have one that we just finished filming. We're going to be editing for a while, and then hopefully releasing a promo by Halloween.
Ooh, yes.
It's pretty spooky. They're all pretty spooky.
Perfect timing.
And it's the channel's called Skywar Digital, and I can have you guys put a link or anything if people want to find that. And we're always making something, even if it takes forever. We're just busy people.
Oh, we get it.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Do you have anything else that you would like to plug?
You know what? No, that's about all I do.
I was like, oh, is there more?
I'm very excited about all these things. I love doing all of them. So I can't. I'll plug Spellbound.
Oh yeah, right.
Spellbound.
No, that's about the extent of my hobbies, making films and writing stories.
Well, that's great. Awesome. Yeah. And we'll include links to all of that, links to where we can purchase the books as well, correct?
Absolutely.
Are they back in stock yet, the Jennings Lodge ones?
It was never really out of stock.
Okay.
That would be cool, but I had to reformat it. And so it was kind of down for a while, but yes, it's up. Everyone can get it.
Oh, it's back. Okay.
They're like a print on demand thing, so you can't really, everyone can get it.
Okay, perfect. I'll have to get that ordered because I'm so excited to read that now, especially that I know it's about aliens.
Yeah, it's I don't even know how to explain it. It's such an odd book, I guess, because I started writing it like 6 years ago, and now I finished it like another half. Hard to explain. It's about a lot more than aliens. Kind of see that in like the first little segment.
Yeah. Don't give it all away. Okay, so you're gonna hang out with us while I tell you a scary story, right?
Okay. Yeah, that sounds awesome. Very excited.
Your arm, right?
He has like the same reaction that I do every single time.
Okay. Oh, we're gonna do the tarot readings because that's what we usually do.
I know you do. I've listened to everyone. I love them.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, so we're gonna start with the tarot reading before I tell y'all what the story. Don't look, Caitlin.
I couldn't help it. I was looking at
cheating.
the tarot cards.
I shouldn't have wrote the title so big.
Jacob, run!
Run away! Now I ruined the suspense for you.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, you need to shuffle them. I forget how this goes every time.
I know.
Well, it's cool being able to see your faces this time. So I'm always wondering what you're doing or what kind of room you're in.
You don't want to know what we're doing.
It's questionable at best. I mean, I'm always struggling to shuffle the cards. And we've established that.
It'll be fun to see when we're going to start recording our tarot readings.
My tiny hands. Yep. Me and my tiny hands are going to run for president.
That would be great. I'd vote for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got my vote.
In keeping with the tradition of tiny hands in the office, right?
I'm not touching it.
You're right. That was all me. I can't help myself. I just find that it's a fun fact. Okay, Cassie.
Okay. Cutting the deck.
Okay. Do you feel good about this one?
I mean, not good, but
Fair enough.
I always turn them upside down, I feel like.
Yeah, you do.
It's the Queen of Presents, and she's upside down.
All right.
I'll show you.
They don't have a reverse interpretation, which is...
Well, that's cool.
They're my
no.
Nightmare Before Christmas cards.
Oh, was that in the Nightmare Before Christmas?
I don't think so. I don't remember
I think
seeing
they
this.
created a bunch of extra characters.
Oh, that's cool.
Pretty cool.
So it's like a Mrs. Claus type of thing, like an evil-ish looking Mrs. Claus baking some sort of bread or pie. Is that pie? Looks like pie. And she was
Lord.
in the reverse.
So reversed, the Queen of Presents has difficulty finding the balance between work and home. She feels pulled between the two and unable to give either her full focus. Wow.
Hmm.
Maybe I was manifesting.
Maybe you were.
I'm like, oh my God, same. Reevaluate what's really important to you and adjust your schedule accordingly to avoid frustration and burnout. Oh, that doesn't sound like me though.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so it must be the case.
Huh.
It must be your
Interesting.
topic.
I mean, I can semi find a way to tie that in. I'm not, it might give us answers. I'm not really sure. Let's keep that out so I can take a picture of it.
Okay.
Okay. Well, let's get into it. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
He's like, I don't know. Can you
To
ever
hide
be
it from
ready
me.
for this?
Okay.
Like, this is what happens. I peek and I'm like, ah.
I know it's ruined for her now. Have you ever heard of the black-eyed children?
No,
You haven't heard of black-eyed children?
I heard of the Black Eyed Peas.
It's
I don't know what's that about.
It's just like that.
No, I've never heard of it. I've heard of some of these you guys do, but no, I've never heard of this one.
Oh, good. Now I'm so excited. I picked
out
one
of
you haven't
town.
heard
Okay.
about. Okay.
All right.
So the black-eyed children is like this weird thing. There's a bunch of stories of people who have seen them. And I'll tell you a little bit about what they do when people see them. So these children show up. They're typically asking for some sort of help. They'll often be kind of distressed. They'll say that, you need to let them into your home or like into your car or something so that you can help them. That's their big thing, is like they need help. They're children, right?
Yeah.
Of course.
A likely
Right.
story.
Kids are totally innocent.
Yeah.
So you'll notice that they're kind of maybe dressed in outdated clothing. They often use like outdated phrasing, things that kind of just don't fit in with like the modern world. They usually have very pale skin.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I'm looking at you.
We're
I
getting,
mean, that's a red flag.
yeah, it always is. Their voices when they speak to you are a little bit off. They just don't sound quite right. They can sound,
you help me?
yeah,
Can you help
like
me with this?
probably even worse than that. They sound a little like robotic and unemotional.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, even when they're like asking for help, they're like, we need help. You need to help us.
Weird.
Yeah, like, so it's a little bit creepy. And people, when they're around these children, they seem like they report a feeling of like dread and fear. Like they get a really strong sense like something bad is happening, which is, when
And
you're
they're not
around,
wrong.
Typically when you're around children, that's not the feeling unless you don't like kids.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
people will find themselves like unknowingly like reaching for the door handle to open the door. Like even though they're getting the strong sense of fear, they're still like wanting to open the door kind of and help these kids. Even though like their brain is telling them like, don't do that.
It's like they're bewitched.
Yeah. It's like they're kind of in a trance.
Yeah.
Then after these kids have been like asking for help, they've been appearing semi-normal, other than the outdated clothing and stuff.
Except for all of the really obvious red flags.
And the black eyes?
Yeah.
Well, this is where that comes in. So they appear normal, they have normal eyes until all of the sudden they don't. And then you notice that their eyes are completely black. Like there's no white, there's nothing in their eyes. It's just black. And that's something like you don't notice at first. Otherwise, you would be like completely put off, right?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So
one would hope.
I know. I'd be like, well, that's kind of cool. How'd you get those?
cool contacts.
I know. And that's like one of the things people think is like these are kids just wearing like full contacts, but what kid is going to have access to a full like movie eye insert? Like
they don't.
Yeah, who can even put those in?
Yeah, they're uncomfortable too. So no, I don't think that's true.
Yeah, definitely not.
No. So that's a little bit about kind of what all of the stories sort of have in common. And there are a few reports of people actually letting them into their personal spaces, and it doesn't turn out good.
Oh, no.
So that basically results in death. Like, don't let these kids in or you're going to die. So most of these reports of people dying after letting the black-eyed children in have to do with them getting some sort of like very aggressive cancer, which is very odd because I'm like, are these kids like radioactive?
Yeah,
like what
them?
is happening that you're going to get cancer from like letting them in your personal space?
Oh, so it's after.
Yeah, it's after they like let them in.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then they get like a very like aggressive cancer and end up dying pretty soon after.
Not what you want.
No, it's terrifying. And people often like lose time when they let these kids in too close. Like they'll lose time. They start feeling dizzy, weak, and nauseous. And it's the weirdest thing. Also, animals tend to act really insane around them.
Oh, you guys are getting a visit.
Wait, what?
You guys are getting a visit.
Oh,
you just had the dog acting up.
Yeah.
No,
I like look behind us. Is there something back there?
Yeah, we're both like looking in the Zoom. And then...
You guys are in a room that's like full of light, and I'm sitting here in the dark.
I know.
It's just because I'm old and I can't like read my notes in the dark.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you a couple of stories that are from the Pacific Northwest specifically, because that's what our pod is about.
Okay.
So this story is from Arcata, California. Is that how you say it? I forgot to write in the pronunciation.
Yeah.
Okay. This story is from Arcata, California. And this one is a little bit different than some of the other stories that people typically have. I'm telling it first because it kind of seems like maybe this is where the black-eyed children are originating from.
No.
Yeah. So
like the worst origin story ever.
I know it really is. Just wait. It's great. So a woman named Jamie Lynn, it's Jamie Lynn, but it's Jamilyn. So I'm going to say Jamie Lynn just because I think that's how you say it.
Yeah.
She was friends with a man who had a terrifying and very personal encounter with some black-eyed children. So he tells, and this is like a third party story. I can't fucking talk. So he tells Jamie Lynn that while he was in a bar one night, he hits it off with this very attractive bartender, and she ends up inviting him home to her place for the night. And she even offers to drive him and to her home and like return him to his car in the morning at the bar. So he gets to this house and it's in a very remote location. He starts to feel really nervous. Like as they're pulling up to the house, he starts to feel nervous about the whole thing. He's not sure, but the peen took control and and is
Here, I thought you were going to tell us at the start of this that Jamulin had a bad encounter. And I was like, well, she's friends with the man.
Yeah,
Like,
no, it's her man friend that had this encounter.
Oh, no.
So his peen takes control of his brain and he decided to go in anyway, despite all of these like terrible feelings he's having. So they go to Pound Town and he said, like, right then she started acting really weird and she like didn't sound human anymore, which I'm like, usually that's like a good sign, right?
Yeah.
You're doing something right.
You sent her into deliriousness.
But he thought it was really strange, but he kept on chugging through. She finally falls asleep around 2 or 3 a.m. and parched from all of that work he'd just done. He goes to the kitchen to get a drink. I put to wet his whistle and I just didn't want to say that anymore.
Like,
so.
I don't like it.
He needed to wet his whistle. So there in the kitchen, he sees multiple children just meandering about the house. And he's like, what the heck? Like, I didn't know that this chick had kids, like, and they're all over this house and we've just been upstairs doing it. Like, this is weird. Like, does she run an orphanage? Are these her children?
He's
like,
just walking around going, I'm sorry for what you heard me do to your mom.
What is happening? And then it hits him. It's 2 to 3 a.m. Like, what the fuck are all these kids doing awake? And walking around the house. It's kind of weird. They should be in bed, right? I don't know.
Weird, yeah.
I guess kids kind of wake up in the middle of the night, right?
All at once?
Yeah, maybe not.
I don't know, guys. I feel like there's a lot of follow-up questions at minimum.
They know he's trying to get the fruit snacks or something.
Yeah. Super sus.
You can't have them. And then they all start looking at him. And he notices that all of their eyes are completely black.
Oh.
Like, no. Not okay. And he's still stuck there. Like, he doesn't have a car. It's the middle of the night in a remote location. Like, he can't leave.
He has a car if he finds her key.
Right.
In that situation, it is.
It's acceptable to just run, probably.
Yeah, that's what I would do, He just got the worst feeling in his gut, but he had to go back to bed and just, finish out the night there. So I'm sure after like a long, restless night, I'm sure he did not sleep very well. In the morning, this woman, she straight kicks him to the curb. She's like, I know I said I'd give you a ride in the morning, but things change. Like, sorry, you gots to go. Bye.
Ouch.
Right? How rude. So he ends up having to like walk out to the highway. I don't know if he walked back all the way back to his car, if he hitchhiked. But he ended up getting back to his car, going home. About a month later, he is diagnosed with a very advanced, aggressive bladder cancer. Like, I don't know if that has something to do with him boning that chick or I don't know. It seems very weird. And
I don't like it.
It's in that location.
A little bit.
Not about it.
Yeah. So he dies 6 months later.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
So these kids, like, I don't know if she's like luring men into her nest and mating with them and then producing black-eyed children.
Yeah.
Like,
I really don't like it. No, thank you, please.
Anybody else got any theories?
Is the next one better? Is the next story happier?
No.
Oh, okay.
They don't get better.
Well, that serves me right.
They never get better. So our next story is from a man named John Norwood and his friend Doug. They had an encounter with some black-eyed children in downtown Portland, Oregon.
Ew, no.
Yep.
That's way close to home.
Uh-huh.
That's right here.
No, thanks.
One night around 11 p.m., they were on the third floor of a parking garage, and Doug wanted to ride around with him in his car and wait for some weirdos that were standing around his car to leave.
Oh,
which,
smart.
You know, Portland, like there's
Yeah.
weirdos everywhere. We take pride in it. It's fine.
Doug, I hear you. I see you. Good call.
So John was like, okay, whatever, dude, like hop in my car. We'll go for a drive. We'll drive by your car, see what's up. So they roll up to Doug's car, and there's two boys and a girl leaning on his car. And one of the boys and the girl looked to be about 14 or 15 years old, while the other boy was like 10 to 12. And they described them being like super goth, which again isn't too unusual for Portland. And just like very intense looking. And I just picture like the goth kids from South Park. Like,
I was just thinking that.
Yep. Just like that. So John said he felt like compelled to just stare at these kids, and he began to slow his car down. And then the two boys came over to the car, one on each side of the window, and John asked them what they were doing hanging out by his friend's car. And the younger boy replied, "It's scary out there all alone. We just wanted a ride home." Just like that. Then the older boy looks at Doug and said, "You promised you'd help us out."
What?
Mhm.
Wait, I made no such promise, sir.
Right. Doug was like, "The fuck I did. I don't know these kids." So John starts to feel really like extremely uneasy, like to the point of nausea, which is, you know, one of the
Doug,
symptoms.
You should leave.
Meanwhile, Doug is reaching for the door handle to open it, like saying he's going to get out of the car. And as he was doing that, as Doug was reaching for the door handle, John noticed that the eyes of the children were completely black. And he's like, "Oh my God, no, we need to get out of here. I'm terrified." He like slams the car in reverse, speeds off towards the exit of the parking garage. And the older boy was there waiting for him at the exit.
Oh my gosh.
It's like they were up on the third floor.
How did you
Like,
get there so fast?
I don't know. It's crazy. I don't know if he just like teleported over there or like jumped down. I don't know. Very odd. So he just speeds past him, continues to drive away. And then they drive around for about 10 minutes. They head back to the parking garage, which at that point, I would just leave.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Why are you doing that?
Sorry,
That's a
Doug's
bunch of
car.
nonsense. Why would they?
Yeah, no.
Doesn't make any sense.
And then while they're driving around during that 10 minutes, Doug actually admits that he did know the kids. He knew the younger boy from earlier and had offered him a ride home, but he didn't know the other kids.
What?
I know. So like
I don't
the
like
young
that.
one like baited him in, and then the older kids showed up later. Mm-mm.
No thanks.
No. So when they get back to Doug's car, there was no one around. The kids were gone. He gets in. He proceeds to drive home. John's following behind him, assuming that Doug was still kind of like somewhat panicked about the whole situation. He runs a red light, and he gets in the intersection. A truck hits him, and he was instantly killed.
Yikes.
Yeah. And then John sees the three black-eyed kids about 2 blocks down the road.
They're coming for him or something? They're just standing there? Or...
I guess
They were
they're
just standing
in
there.
close proximity, like they want to see their handiwork.
I
That's
don't
so
Oh
weird.
no.
Yeah. As far as I know, John survived. There was no more stories after that. So who knows if they'd gotten to him afterwards. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
I'm
But poor
assuming
Doug.
I know they were just real pissed at Doug for not
Yeah.
giving them a ride home.
You promised.
Yeah. So this another story actually found from Portland, Oregon again.
No.
I can't believe I found 2 stories from Portland.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
What luck.
I know. So this one was around 2 a.m. This woman was out smoking on the balcony.
Backlany. It's about balconari.
You're messing me up. Okay, at around 2 a.m., this woman was out smoking on the balcony of her condo in the southeast. She had her balcony lights off. I'm assuming because it was so late, she didn't want to like wake people up with her balcony light.
Well, and sometimes people will smoke on their balcony in Portland in secret because a lot of condo communities now.
Oh yeah. You're not allowed
to smoke.
Yeah.
So she's probably like, they'll never know.
I used to have to hide my cats.
Yeah. It happens.
All of a sudden.
All of a sudden.
Reading my notes. All of a sudden, she sees two female children at the neighbor's balcony on the second story.
No.
Like, what are these kids doing up here? They were standing very close together. One looked to be about 8, the other about 12, which is, I guess, pretty typical for like black-eyed children. There's always like a smaller, younger one and an older one.
Yeah.
The younger one gets you. That's why they need that.
Yeah, they're
one.
like the lure.
Mm-hmm. So she said she felt like pure terror, and all she could do was stand there and like watch from the shadows, just frozen, and stare at these kids. She said she wasn't sure why she felt so scared, but it was just this like sense that something really bad was going to happen. So the kids start knocking on the neighbor's balcony door for like 10 minutes until the neighbor finally peeked out her blinds and was looking very confused, obviously, because there's 2 children on her second story balcony.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. Cause I was like, okay, well, what if they knock on the door and like the person opens it and she like lets them in because it's like her kids? Then you're like, haha, debunked.
Yeah. No,
Damn
she didn't know these kids.
Okay, cool.
So the older girl spoke up in like a chilling monotone voice that just didn't seem human. They were too far away for this woman to make out what they were actually saying, but she just like heard, their voices and what it kind of sounded like. Then the younger girl turned and looked straight at her. And she's like, I'm in the dark. They can't see me. Nobody's here.
Keep telling yourself that.
It's like that thing where someone's watching you, but you can't. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just had that
eyes on you.
Someone was staring.
No, there actually is. I read a study about that. There is like something where it's like an extra sensory perception thing where you can tell that people are looking at you.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's the worst feeling in the world. That's the scariest thing to me.
Yeah.
I don't like it either, especially when you think you're alone.
Yeah. Not to me. Not to me.
So she said she almost pisses her pants. She was so scared. The child, I know. The child was staring at her, expressionless, with pitch black eyes. She said they had very pale skin. Their clothing looked to be outdated. The neighbor ended up opening the door just a crack, breaking the gaze of the younger girl. And then they were talking to this neighbor who just opened the door. And then all of a sudden, the older girl seemed like she was getting really mad, and she tried to force her way into the home. And the neighbor like slammed the door closed, locked it, and starts like backing away. And then that's all she could see of the neighbor because, the window. Ugh. Yeah. So she starts backing away. That's when the 2 girls like seemed to be communicating telepathically almost. They were just looking at each other, but they weren't speaking. Yeah. And then they turned at the same time to where this woman stood in total darkness and started staring at her. So at that point, her frozen fear thawed just enough for her to dash inside and lock that motherfucking door.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Yeah.
So she kept watching out the window, and the 2 little girls just basically vanished right in front of her eyes. They kind of like, she described it as they kind of like dispersed into thin air.
Oh man, they just like evaporated?
Yeah. Just evaporated. Wow. They were gone. She was like, whew, that's it. Story's over. Nope. Wow. Just kidding. They appeared on the neighbor's roof.
What?
Yep.
Why?
They appeared on the neighbor's roof.
From the roof.
They just poofed up there. They continued to stare into her condo, into the woman across that was smoking in darkness. They continued to stare into her condo from the roof. And then they start digging at the roof. Like they're going to dig their way through to the neighbor's house? I'm not really sure.
That's terrifying either way. It doesn't matter what they're doing. That's fun.
Why are you digging?
It's not great.
No.
I don't love it.
Eventually, she was able to run and grab her phone. She was too scared to like break her gaze from them because she didn't want them to disappear again. But she was like, I need to get this picture taken of these. Like, no one's ever going to believe me.
Yeah.
So she runs and gets her phone. She takes a picture, but the flash was on. So all it did was like bounce off the glass. She didn't get a picture of them. And then they disappeared again.
Well, yeah. They're like, we just saw that flash.
Oh,
We know what you're up to.
Give it away.
I bet they were pissed. So a few nights later, she feels brave enough again to go out on her balcony with her boyfriend home. She's like, okay, everything's going to be fine. I was just hallucinating. So she goes out and she starts to hear sounds on the roof. And she's like, nope, that's not happening. Like, I'm going to run back inside. I'm going to lock the doors. So she runs to like go make sure the front door is locked. And all of a sudden she gets that same like scared to death feeling, like that sense of dread, the same sense she got the night before. And there comes 3 knocks at the front door.
No, stop it.
And then the same creepy voice from the older girl says, "Man, you have to let us in. Please help us." So she didn't answer, which good choice. But they kept knocking. Are you scared? Are you going to sleep tonight? I don't think you are.
If I say no, is your next case going to be scarier?
Yes.
I am. I'm such chicken shit.
You really are. So her boyfriend grabbed his phone and handed it to her so she could try to take a picture of them through their window. That was kind of like, it was like up on some stairs. So it was like a high window. And she was going to go up there and try to take a picture down at them. When she gets up there, she's surprised to see the older girl's face at the window, shaking her head. Like, you ain't taking a picture of me today. She's like, how did this bitch get up here? Like, is she floating? What is happening? It is way too high.
Okay, I'm dying because you did the when you got the Jurassic Park. Those are like my favorite movies as a kid. So I'm picturing myself as a kid.
You didn't say the magic word.
But the creepy version of me up in somebody's window. Because I just watched Jurassic Park and I'm all, jacked up on Mountain Dew because I'm a kid.
Exactly how it went. So she took a photo anyway, and this little girl wasn't anywhere to be seen in the photo.
Oh.
Like she took it right of her face and she wasn't in the photo at all. And then they both disappeared again.
Nothing to see there.
I know. Exactly. Nothing to see. So this woman is a medical student. I mean, I guess she's smoking, so that's not very good. But she's a medical student who's like very skeptical about anything paranormal. She says she has no way of explaining this. She's tried and tried to, I can't think of words.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're
words.
just trying to come up with any logical explanation.
Yeah, logical.
That you can.
That's the word.
Although I will say this, I feel like there's a lot of people that enter med school and they're like all about, obviously health, right? But that's a grueling schedule. I feel like a lot of them pick up smoking just so they can stay awake.
Right. Well, that's kind of like where I was thinking with the card, but we'll get there. We'll get there in a minute. So
now Home Alone.
So they still hear like strange noise coming from the roof at night, like strange noises. They still hear that. So I know this could be like easy to write off as like an urban legend type of thing, but like here we just like to be really, really scared. So we take all of these stories of like fact, this happened, this is true. Oh. So what do you guys think these are? Like,
well, they're children.
Yeah. Like demon children, alien children, interdimensional,
disagree,
vampire.
Maybe interdimensional. You don't agree? You just don't.
They are not children.
They're not normal children.
Well, that last story of the 3 was by far the scariest.
Yeah.
And
up on digging on the roof.
Oh yeah.
Ew.
What's up with that?
No, thank you.
No. So yeah, that's real for sure.
No, I feel like in all of the
Myth
stories,
busted.
I feel like in all of the stories, I hear them described as like demons, but
I think it's like because the black eye thing is like very
Yeah.
demony.
Yeah.
but he makes a good point. I don't know.
But like the fact that they have to be, you basically
Well,
have to let them in your home. They can't just come, like they can't just appear in your home. They can appear like on the roof. But
well,
they
these
can't
last
let
ones seem to
in.
materialize out of thin air to a different place.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're thinking
In dimension you can't see. If they're in a higher dimension, we can't see it. So that's why I'm thinking interdimensional. But I mean, I assume demons can do the same thing. In a sense, they're kind of interdimensional too.
Maybe.
I know where you're going with this,
Like
though, 'cause they're
vampire-y
asking
kind
for
of.
Well, the
permission.
whole time you were talking about it, I was thinking Salem's Lot. Yeah, vampires. The whole way floating in the windows.
I think they're kind of a mix of like all of these different things, honestly.
The
like
best thing is that we just don't know. It's just
I know.
That's
We
what's
will
so scary
never
about it.
know. The thought I had with the card though is like maybe these people are really stressed out from work. They're not balancing their work life and like home life. So maybe
people are writing them off like, oh, your story's not real because you're exhausted.
Yeah, like maybe they are like hallucinating because they're so exhausted. Or maybe that's just what draws these children in, is like people who are, mentally.
They did all seem to have something going on in their lives.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good point. I mean,
makes you like an easier target if you're.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, it says like adjust your schedule accordingly to avoid frustration and burnout. Like, how does a med student do that?
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. I'll just take it easy while I'm becoming a doctor.
So maybe like the ultimate takeaway is to balance your work life and your like downtime so that you don't get eaten by black-eyed children.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the answer.
Oh my gosh.
I actually have a personal story to tell.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah. I do.
About black-eyed children.
Yes.
Shut up. What?
So
I didn't know this. We have talked about this subject before.
I feel like I told you this, but you might not remember until I start telling it. So one day it was like 5 a.m. We get this knock at our door and we're like, it's 5 a.m. Like, what is happening? Who is at the door? And we have a Ring camera. So I go to look on the Ring camera and I'm like, what? There's this guy outside. He looks younger, not as young as like a child, but he looks like a younger, maybe like an older teenager. He could have been like 18 to 20, but he looked younger to me. He's like on our front porch, like doing this, like looking all distressed. And I'm like, is this a black-eyed child trying to act distressed? So I need to go. So I was like, I'm not going to the door. I'm waiting for this kid to leave. He needs to go. So he eventually does leave. Apparently he went to a couple different neighbors though and was knocking on doors, and one of the neighbors answered, and he was like looking for someone who used to live in one of these houses in this neighborhood.
Oh man.
And I'm like, bro, it's 5 a.m.
Yeah, that's
what are you doing?
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Was it 5 a.m. in the summer? Or 5 a.m. in like the fall, winter?
I think it was like summer. So it was semi-light outside.
Still though.
But still, like that's early to go looking for your friend.
Yeah.
It is. No one does that.
No. Yeah. Nobody does that.
As someone who has to be to work like really early, and I have had to wake up before or at 5 a.m. for work, I would literally I would wait hours to text anyone. Like I
feel like you gotta wait for like 9, 10 a.m.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like wait for an hour of common decency.
Yeah. And it was
now I'm gonna have my front door is one of those doors where it's like 4 panels of glass that's like, the stained glass, so you can see silhouettes through it when someone's standing at the front. So now I'm probably gonna get a knock at my door, and I got the Ring camera right there too, so it's just like the story you told. I'm probably gonna die tonight.
No, you're not.
I need a ring on like every point of entry.
Yes, you do.
Honestly, having it sometimes it just scares me though, because there's always like it'll give you the motion thing and you look.
Oh yeah.
And nothing's there sometimes, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, that was the wind chime.
That reminds me, Chris actually said that he stumbled upon the video that I watched. I just happened to watch, I was scrolling through Facebook and I saw it one of the nights when he was working like night. And he was like, that was literally one of the worst, like one of the most scariest videos that I've ever seen. He was like, that was horrifying. That's like a real video. Somebody came and knocked up on this like real person's house. This woman was home alone. And the guy kept like knocking on the door and he was talking to himself. And you could hear him. He's like, really? Are you sure? Just like over and over again, just on a loop. And then he'd be like, I just have some questions. Like he was talking to her inside, but she wasn't like talking to him and she wasn't anywhere where like he would be able to see her. Well, finally, as he's starting to like walk away, her husband sees this and he's like, wow, my poor wife is probably really freaked out.
Yeah.
And he starts talking to the guy and I'm like, no, he was walking away. Like he was down at like the bottom of their porch. And the husband goes like, hey, excuse me, can I help you? Who are you? You know,
Manly.
yeah. Man stuff. And the guy turns around and he was like, oh yeah, I was just looking to ask some questions. And he's like, I'm sorry, like what questions do you have? Like, what do you need? And the guy was like, oh, I was just gonna rape and kill that woman that's in that house. I was just gonna rape and kill that girl that was in the house.
You know, just that. That's it.
And the husband was like, you need to get out of here or something like that. But like the guy, then he goes back to the door and was like knocking on it again. But eventually like the husband, I think whatever he said kind of spooked him or so he takes off, but you're like, okay.
That is terrifying.
Don't be a hero. You don't always got to go talk to him.
No.
Yeah, I know. I was like, he was walking away. Like whatever he was doing was really creepy, but like maybe just let him go on his merry way.
I hope they call the cops.
Well, so what I saw was a post of basically people were circulating the video because it happened in Las Vegas. And it happened like I want to say July 20th or 21st, something like that. And they were circulating the video because Las Vegas PD was looking to pick him up because they said that because they caught him on tape, you know, on the camera and he was on tape, like there's no tape anymore because they got him on camera and he did physically, he threatened her physically that like they would arrest him. So
man,
they were looking for him. I was like, that is so creepy. So I don't know. It's kind of one of those things. You just let the guy go, or do you wait until he says something bad? And like now they can actually arrest him.
Yeah, that's true. I guess they wouldn't have known if he didn't ever go out and say anything to him.
Did you record your encounter?
It is recorded. I'm not going to post it just because it's showing the front of my house. So I just don't want to.
Damn it.
I think I showed you like a while ago. He didn't have black eyes. I mean, you couldn't really see on the Ring camera, unfortunately.
Well, you didn't get to see him. They never start out with black eyes.
That's true. He could have had black eyes.
Yeah, until you go and like answer the door, he's gonna have like normal looking eyes. Yeah. I think you've had an encounter. I need to see this video.
I'll try to find it. I think I saved it.
Blur it out so that we can like keep your house a secret location.
Maybe.
But share it.
Maybe.
I'll just have the guy.
Just the guy. Just a screenshot of the guy. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Do that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna work on
getting on it.
That's so creepy.
I know. Ooh. Have you ever seen any black-eyed children that now that you know the legend?
No, I don't think so. But sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and it's one of the scariest things in the world when my daughter Lily, you can hear her footsteps on the hardwood floor come down the hall. And
oh my God.
Fast. And she's my daughter, but she scares me. Like, I think that, I don't know, footsteps running down the hall is pretty scary. I just hope she doesn't turn into one. That's all.
Does she ever wake you up like staring at you at night?
Not me so much, but Caleb. Yeah.
Oh,
she does scary stuff. It's scary. So scary to have kids.
Kids do weird, creepy stuff sometimes.
They're very weird. The kid that I nanny for, he doesn't do it so much anymore, but he used to do it a lot where he would make this sound
Oh no.
No thanks.
all the time. He would make that sound. Like, you're the creepiest kid.
Wow.
Well, I hope I don't have any encounters. That sounds.
I know.
Yeah,
it
I
sounds
hope so too.
horrifying.
But now you know, now you have the knowledge. Don't let
Oh,
them in.
His next book is going to be about, like,
Well, yeah, it's good. That's good.
That'd be
That's
sweet.
Cool.
I would read that for sure.
You're going to have like you're going to be in like the, what do you even call that? Acknowledgement.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
what are words?
I don't know them either.
Words are hard.
All right. Well, should we wrap this up? Do you want to say that have a creepy ass day with us?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Let's hope I do it right.
Okay. Have a
Have a
creepy ass
day.
day.
I think the Zoom delay.
That worked. Well, thank you so much for being on with us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I had so much fun.
Of course. Send us all of those links that you want us to include.
I will.
Okay.
All right. Thanks a lot. See you, ladies.
Bye.
Bye.
So, for all of you that are listening, if you have any true crime or paranormal stories that you want us to share, maybe with the whole Pacific Northwest.
Yes, we would love to read them on the pod.
Yes, we will read them out loud.
Not just in our heads.
Yes. They don't have to be from the Pacific Northwest if you would like to share. Email us at pnwhauntsandhomicides@gmail.com. It's all spelled out, no special characters. Super duper easy peasy.
Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Same thing as the email at pnwhauntsandhomicides, all spelled out, no special characters. Please also rate and review us on whatever platform you're listening to, and check out our stories on social media because our meme game is hot.
Agreed.
And if you agree, like Caitlin, you can also find us on Patreon and support the show.
Bitchin'.
The dog is whining in the background.
He's having a dream.
I'm sorry, I'm scaring the puppy.
Sorry that you're having a dream. He was going like this. He's like,
I'm sorry. Don't listen. Earmuffs, baby.
he was having a bad dream.
Oh,